All right, y'all. Look. I gotta tell y'all, man. EDC. I mean, this man out here chefing with the draft. Okay, like he got the pan out there. He got the olive oil on the pan. He got the chicken going, and it's about to hit. The reason I say that is, I got to be honest with y'all. The reason I say that is I don't know. I feel like EDC surprised me with this draft. Maybe I didn't come in with expectations. I didn't come in with these big lofty goals. Instead, I just kind of just watched it for myself, and then I made my determination after the fact, and after probably a knee-jerk reaction of like, hey, I don't know, this man, he did it again. I don't know what he doing. I don't know why he doing it like this. But I think I actually kind of like it. And we got to talk about some of these draft picks. We also got to talk about the steal of the draft. The steal. I mean, there's one guy that I think, he's just a steal in this draft. And, I think, to be honest with you, EDC hit on that one as well. And also Kyle Hamilton, Tyler Linderbaum. Kyle Hamilton, fifth-year option. Tyler Linderbaum, we going to wait and see. Of course, you can't give a second fifth-year option, so there's that part about it as well. And we got to talk about so much more right here on the Be More Show. We're going to keep you tuned in right here to talk about all the things we got to, because I'm excited, y'all. I'm excited. We got a question of the day coming back today. And we got Posted to Fly and that and so much more right here on the Be More Show. So look, I'm going to tell y'all, get y'all's popcorn, get y'all's drink. Let's get together. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about all things Baltimore Ravens right here on the Be More Show. All right, y'all, welcome in to the Be More Show. I'm back once again, DJ back. Once again, it's been far too long. I think I say that too often. I think, honestly, I do. I think I say that too often. I think I got to quit saying that. I got to quit saying that, all right? I got to quit saying it's been far too often because it's too many times where it's been far too often. But the draft, what are we? Well, a week past, a week post draft. And I got some thoughts, y'all. I know everybody got thoughts on the draft and how they feel and if they're excited. And it's one of those things. The draft is tough for me, all right? I'm just going to be honest with y'all, okay? I'm going to be honest with y'all as y'all are watching and listening on all the major podcasting platforms. If you're watching, you're probably on YouTube or you're on Spotify. But anywho, if you're not watching, you're just listening. Either way, let's talk about it. This draft right here, man. This draft right here, I honestly think EDC hit it out the park, man. I think he hit it out the park with this draft. That's just my overall thoughts. That's the overarching thoughts right there. I feel like EDC knocked it out the park with this draft. Why do I feel that way in comparison to previous drafts? I've said this before. I'm gonna say it again. I feel like EDC is very good. Is very good at drafting for what his coaches need. Right now, it may not be what we want as fans. What we see is a potential need. I mean, we've talked about this wide receiver conversation for quite some time, even up to the point of losing to the Bills. I even talked about it my darn self. But I will say that I feel like this time EDC kind of hit on this draft, man. He kind of did. We got to talk about it. We got to get right into it. I'm not gonna get into everything. All right. I'm not gonna get into every pick, but I'm gonna get into some of the big ones. All right. I'm gonna get into some of the big ones because I feel like those are the most important ones to look at. Right. The picks that we picked where Odafe Oweh was picked, where it could have been George Pickens. The picks where we picked Rashad Bateman, where we may have picked somebody else. The picks where we picked Kyle Hamilton, where we may have selected a wide receiver. Those type of picks. All right. Those type of picks. Those are the picks that I'm talking about. I'm talking about the early round picks, and I got a couple of other ones that I'm gonna sprinkle in. One that could be the end of an era for a Baltimore Ravens player, and another one that I think is the absolute steal of the draft. I really do. I think it's the absolute steal of the draft, and I think we have to have this conversation. But let's jump right into it. All right. So I'm gonna talk about the Ravens' first round pick, second round pick, third round pick. I might mention the fourth round pick here as well. And then a couple of other guys as well within that. But let's just start. Let's get it started. Let's get it started, man. Let's get it started with the first round pick for the Baltimore Ravens which was at 27 out of Georgia, the safety Malachi Starks. All right. Look, I know we've been on the defund the defense agenda for a while over here as well, with a lot of our counterparts like Road Pod and LBHT show over there too. Look, I know we've been on defund the defense for a good bit, but when you bring in DeAndre Hopkins to shore up your wide receiver room a little bit, to give you something that you haven't had, maybe since Lamar Jackson has been around, unless you want to count maybe a Mark Andrews or an Isaiah Likely, right? If you go all in on defense, you gotta get guys who you feel like are truly fit what you're trying to do. And I feel like Malachi Starks is an amazing pick for the Baltimore Ravens. I really do. I really do, y'all. I feel like Malachi Starks is an amazing pick for the Baltimore Ravens. Let me tell you why. All right, let me tell you why. Let's jump into why I feel this way. I feel like Malachi Starks is a great pick for the Baltimore Ravens because of his leaping ability, y'all. This dude is a ball hawk, okay? Like when I watch this dude, it just feels like he knows where to be, right? And it's going to free Kyle Hamilton up. And I think that's the most important part of all of this. Freeing Kyle Hamilton up, for Kyle Hamilton to be exactly what you want him to be, that's what we need, y'all. We need Kyle Hamilton freed up, all right? We need Kyle Hamilton freed up, okay? Let me tell you why I feel that way. Because I feel like, honestly, the Ravens defense, so let's look at it. Last year, and it's kind of opposite of what we really probably think. But last year, when Kyle Hamilton was deep safety, that's when the Ravens played at their best. But the hope was that one Eddie Jackson or Marcus Williams, right, those guys will be able to fill in the gaps and allow Kyle Hamilton to be that kind of Troy Polamalu-esque guy who plays in the box, and you can put him anywhere. You can put him, you can send him back if you need to, but at the same time, he's gonna be exactly what you need. Like he can be anywhere you need him to be. You need to play linebacker, play out, kind of take out some of these tight ends. You need to come up and tackle. You need him to cover deep. It don't matter. He can be everywhere. And I think the Ravens selecting their first round pick as Malachi Starks, I think it's huge. I think it's huge. Shout out to Ravens Nation Live for sharing this one right here. That the Ravens first round pick Malachi Starks is the only FBS player since 2022 with 190 plus tackles, 6 interceptions, and 20 passes defended. Okay, and basically naming him as versatile, explosive, a game changer in the secondary. And why is he a game changer? Because it allows Kyle Hamilton to do his thing. It allows Kyle Hamilton to be what makes Kyle Hamilton special. And if the Ravens are gonna go all in on defense, this is one of those guys. He's athletic, right? He's athletic. The dude jumps out the gym. Okay, he literally does. Like when you watch him play, when you watch him in coverage, like it almost feels as if nothing is too far from him because of his leaping ability. I think his leaping ability is huge. For playing that deep safety, right? For playing that deep safety and playing well against defended passes, y'all. All right. So let's go to the second round. At the 59th pick, the Ravens selected out of Marshall Mike Green. All right. Now, I know how y'all feel. I know how y'all feel. Okay. But Mike Green is one of those guys. Where to me, you kind of going aggressive at edge, but not in the first round, right? And when you look at it, 17 sacks last season, 22.5 tackles for loss. Shout out to Kyle Magnum on this one for giving me. Let me show y'all so y'all can see it. For giving me these stats right here. Okay. I mean, improvement from 2023 to 2024 when it comes to PFF grade. If you want to, question the validity of that, feel free. But an absolute dog. Okay. But here's the thing about Mike Green. Right? The thing about Mike Green is I feel like you getting a pure pass rusher. I think that's the biggest thing. You getting a pure pass rusher when it comes to Mike Green. A pure pass rusher, which I think is needed. It's not a utility player. It's not a guy you're going to line up in 18 different places. It's a guy you're going to line up off the edge and you're going to set him loose. That's what I like about Mike Green. That's what I like about Mike Green. It's a guy you're going to set loose, okay? It's a guy you're going to set loose. And that's what I like. This is what the Ravens have needed for a long, long time. The Ravens have tried to play this game. The Ravens have tried to play this game of we gonna gadget players, right? Gadget players. They tried to play this game of gadget players for so long. You know, we got Patrick Ricard, which this one worked out, but Patrick Ricard is a defensive tackle. We can put him at fullback, right? We got Odafe Oweh who's going to put in coverage, and we're going to edge rush 50%, 50-50, but he ain't really a pure pass rusher. He's just raw, complete speed. And I feel like this time with Mike Green, I'm feeling better. What's good, 86 Ghost? How you feeling? Look, Mike Green, I like that one. Appreciate you for coming by the way. But I like Mike Green, right? I like this one. I do. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of this one right here. Let's jump into the tackle, Emory Jones Jr. from LSU. Right? Now, LSU is nice because hey, you know, LSU is nice because it's LSU. You know, it's LSU. You can't never go wrong with LSU. You can't never go wrong with LSU players, and you know, especially that type of feel, right? But when you look at it, shout out to all 22 cuts for this one right here, right? When you look at Emory Jones Jr., it really begs the question of what the Ravens are doing right here, right? I think it begs the question of what are the Ravens doing with this one, right? What's the Ravens playing right here? Emory Jones Jr., a tackle, right? A tackle by trade, but could be a guard. And it says it right here. Shout out to all 22, right? Mentioning that he could serve a guard, tackle, hybrid role, and I think he will, because I think the Ravens are comfortable with Rosengarten. I don't think the Ravens are comfortable with Faalele. I really don't. I don't think they're comfortable with either guard spot, to be honest with you. That's just my opinion, right? But I think it's going to depend on who plays worse, where he ends up playing. But I feel like most of the time he plays on Faalele's side, which is on the right. So I think because of that, I can see him playing guard because you want to keep Rosengarten where Rosengarten is comfortable and Rosengarten has played well at, right? I don't know how much the Ravens trust Voorhees, and I don't know how much they trust, you could say Ben Cleveland. I don't know how much they trust Faalele. I think this is insurance. But I think it's also insurance. You know, this ain't just that type of coverage like if you need it. No, this is like the house is falling down. I need insurance coverage yesterday. That's what this is. And I think Emory Jones Jr. I think is a good pick too, because I think with Emory Jones Jr. I think what you get is you get some security. You get some security right here. Okay, you get some security with Emory Jones Jr. because if let me tell you why I feel like this is kind of security, and that's what the offensive line is for anyway. But it's just like if you don't trust your guards, you trust your tackle, but you don't trust your guards. This is just gonna make the offensive line that much better. And we talked about this before. I've been on this soapbox for a little bit of time. I went on this hill for a little bit of time. I would rather spend valuable assets, valuable money, valuable draft picks on offensive line to build a wall around Lamar Jackson than I would go grab other receivers. Let me tell you why. Because I think Lamar Jackson has shown time and time again. It doesn't mean that we don't need it. It doesn't mean that it shouldn't be improved. But Lamar Jackson has shown time and time again. He's shown time and time again that with the right offensive line, it's unstoppable. He's shown with not even a great offensive line, he can possibly be unstoppable. But if you can protect him and give him time, it's all over for you. It's all over for you, okay? It's all over for you. And we know it. We all know it. Everybody knows it. The entire league knows it. Okay? The entire league knows it. I forgot to mention something about Mike Green real quick. Speed. You know, and it's not that Odafe Oweh type speed. This is not that Odafe Oweh type speed. Mike Green, he's fast. He flies. He's everywhere, right? And that's another good part too. And I've talked about this before. If the Ravens are going to do this whole pick and play, like pick your poison, at least get guys that are good at it. And I think with Mike Green, I think honestly, you can put him in a pass rush role and he can be completely fine, but he can still use his speed to stop the run. He can still use his speed to get out the guys in open space. So I'm excited about Mike Green. When it comes to Teddy Buchanan out of California, they've been mentioning a lot of comparisons to, what's my guy's name out of San Francisco? I can't remember his name right off the top of my head, but y'all know what I'm talking about. The guy with the darn ponytail, like he flies around too. That's who he kind of reminded of, and I feel like he got good instincts, right? I feel like that's another thing. I feel like Buchanan got really good instincts, so I'm really excited about that one at the number 4 pick as well. Now let's look. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. The steal of the draft. Is it any of those guys? We got to ask. The steal of the draft. Is it any of those guys? Like, Mike Green is good, right? I like Mike Green. I like Malachi Starks. I think both of them are great picks. I think Emory Jones could be possibly really good. Some of y'all might even say Tyler Loop is a steal of the draft because we don't know about Justin Tucker. We don't know what's going down. We don't know if anything else is going to come out about it. We don't know if the Ravens really want to distance themselves from Justin Tucker with everything going on. We don't know that, with the allegations and stuff. We don't know. We don't know how that's going to feel. We don't know how Justin Tucker is going to play with the allegations hanging over his head. Because remember, last year was not Justin Tucker's best year, right? And it's possible that was in the back of his mind. We don't know that. But it's possible, okay? But Tyler Loop is a good pick. I'm not going to say he's the steal. Let me pull it up for y'all, all right? Let me pull it up for y'all so y'all know. Now, I know I told y'all this. I ain't good with names, okay? I'm not remotely at all good with names. At all. Like, I've been trying to tell y'all this. I ain't good with names. I'm gonna try my best. Shout out to Call Me Coop right here. Call Me Coop got me covered, okay? Call Me Coop got me covered. And it's not a secondary guy because that was not a joke, okay? That was not a joke. I promise y'all. All right. This is my guy right here. I'm just gonna be honest with y'all. This is my guy right here. I don't know how to say his name, but I'm gonna try my best. Enis Peoples. Aeneas. I think it's Aeneas for real. I don't know where I got an Enis. What is that? Is that even a name? Aeneas. Enis. Now I can't even say what I said was right. But Peebles, man. This Peebles from Virginia Tech. This ain't just because I'm a Virginia boy. All right. When I asked my friend, I said, how is this Aeneas Peoples? How is this dude? And he told me. He said, hey man, he said he's small. Right. He said he's small. He said, I think it's a good pick, but he's small. He's small, But when you watch him play, just from the couple of clips that they got right here, shout out to Chris Cooper, right? From some of the clips we got right here, he's double teamed every time. This man is double teamed every time, and he still made plays. And I think that's big. Now, let me tell you why it's a steal. It's not a steal because I think he's going to play day one. He's going to start over Nnamdi Madubuike or nothing like that. This is a steal. Simply from the perspective. Let me go back here for they being copyrighted my behind. This is a steal simply from the perspective that it adds, number one, depth, and number two, because it adds depth, I should say 1A. Because it adds depth, y'all, he don't have to be great right away. So if he's still a little bit raw, if he's still got a little bit to learn, and he can learn from Nnamdi Madubuike. But imagine this dude right here getting who was getting double teamed in college, right? By Georgia specifically, I think is who was on the other side. I can't tell if that's Georgia or Oklahoma. I can't tell. Anyway, but by another really good school, probably really good offensive line right here. He getting double teamed, but he's still getting to the quarterback. He getting double teamed, but he still got run stuff in ability. That's big. I think that's a steal right there. I think this dude right here is a steal because you watch him get double teamed time and time again. He do his thing. So honestly, back to the information right here. Back to me. Look, I think for real, I think the EDC killed it with this draft, man. EDC killed it with this draft. Hook, line, and sinker. He killed it with this draft, okay? He killed it. He killed it with this draft. Because I think, and I'm not necessarily looking deep into the draft, right? Now, like I said, I'm not looking at our, is that 6 round picks that maybe we could have traded for something. I'm not looking into that. All right. I'm not looking at that. Of course, Peoples was in that 6th round. So there's that aspect of it too. And so was Tyler Loop. So 2 of my guys who really, I think could make an impact, they in that 6th round. But even looking early on and a couple of picks later on throughout the draft, hey, honestly, y'all, I think EDC cooked on this one. I really do, man. I think EDC, I think he cooked on this one. All right. I think he cooked. I think he absolutely cooked on this one right here. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to see what's going to go down. Now, look, let's jump into Kyle Hamilton. Tyler Linderbaum, okay? Kyle Hamilton is locked in with Tyler Linderbaum. I'm not sure. And locked in, when I say that, I'm talking about not necessarily long-term deals, but 5th-year options. So let's look at the statement that the Ravens released about this whole situation. And after we look at that, we'll have a conversation about it. So the Ravens said as follows on Kyle Hamilton: we are exercising the 5th-year option for Kyle Hamilton with the goal of working towards a multi-year contract extension, which will be a big one. All right. While we will not apply the 5th-year option to Tyler Linderbaum, which I feel like the Ravens only have one, if I'm not mistaken. I think I might be wrong about that. Feel free to let me know in the comments about that. But while we will not apply the 5th-year option to Tyler Linderbaum, it is our intention for him to remain a Baltimore Raven long-term. That was from one Eric DaCosta, okay? And when I look at this, right, Kyle Hamilton, very important to this defense, probably the MVP of this defense. I know a lot of people in previous times would have said Roquan Smith, but I think after last year, I think we can definitely say Kyle Hamilton is that dude. He is that dude on this defense right now. And if you're gonna pour money into the defense, Kyle Hamilton got to be one of the. I mean, he's a top safety, right? Like, he is a top safety in this league for what he can do. He is a top safety in this league based off of what he has done. Just in what, 2 short years? He's shown time and time again, hey, I'm that dude. And I think it's interesting because I think honestly both of these guys get paid. Both him and Linderbaum. I think they both get paid. I really do. I think they both get paid. Because I think both of them are too valuable to the Ravens to not. Right? I honestly think this is just my bold prediction here. Feel free to not believe me on it. My bold prediction is I think Lamar takes a pay cut very, very soon. Lamar got his big payday. I think Lamar wants to win a Super Bowl. I think Lamar wants to win a Super Bowl and making money. I really do. I know he wants to be a billionaire. I know he said that. And I think he will be. Of course, we've seen him on a couple more endorsements too, right? As of late, there were signs, right? There were signs. Okay, so I think because of that, I honestly do. I think because of that, I think Lamar Jackson. This is my bold prediction. Feel free to leave your bold prediction below. Feel free to agree or disagree with me down below. Okay, I think Lamar Jackson is going to take a pay cut very, very soon, like pretty much all the other quarterbacks have. I think Lamar Jackson's going to take a pay cut very soon. I think it's going to get Kyle Hamilton paid, and I think it's going to get Linderbaum paid. And I think, honestly, him taking a pay cut might honestly be one of the bigger reasons we're in the Super Bowl too. Is him taking a pay cut and being selfless. That's just my opinion. If I'm wrong later on, we can talk about it down the road. All right, we can talk about it down the road. But look, y'all. Look. Let's see what my boy 86 got to say. Okay. They can extend Lamar and pay him more and save like 40 million. Yeah, even that option, extend him, and reallocate the money a little bit, right? I think Lamar is okay with that. I think he's okay with that. I think Lamar wants a Super Bowl. I think he wants a Super Bowl more than he wants anything else. And I think a lot of these guys want the same thing, right? They want a Super Bowl. Okay, listen. We gotta look and see what the flock is talking about. All right, we gotta look and see what the flock is talking about. All right, what y'all talking about out here? Okay, what y'all talking about out here? I got a little question from the flock that I didn't found. And I feel like it was a pretty good question, pretty good and pretty interesting question, right? Pretty good and pretty interesting question. And I want to talk to y'all about it. I want to see what y'all think about it, and let's just have this conversation. All right, so let's pull it up so y'all can see it while I pull it up. I want y'all to just be thinking. I want y'all to just be thinking. 2-point conversion. What will you do? All right, y'all. So let's pull the question up for y'all. All right. Let's make it a little bit bigger so y'all can see what's going on. All right. We're going for 2. This is Ravens fans, okay? This ain't nobody else. This is a Ravens fan and nobody else. Okay, but look, we're down by 2. We're going for a 2-point conversion with the game on the line. What should we do? Now, look, this ain't even one of those situations where like it's like, huh? Are you sure? Like this might not even happen, right? Like, why would the Ravens go for 2? Like, we know John Harbaugh love a good 2-point conversion. Okay. John Harbaugh love a good 2-point conversion. All right, but look, what should we do? You got option A, run it with Derrick Henry. Option B, have Lamar throw it to blankety blank blank, right? Blankety blank blank. C, let Lamar Jackson, maybe DeAndre Hopkins this year. Hey, C, let Lamar Jackson run it himself. And D, is that the pick you picking, Ray? Look, Raven is out here saying she gonna let Lamar take it. All right, she gonna let Lamar take it. Raven, you picking Lamar? You going Lamar? Ray, you going Lamar? What do you think? What you think? Come here. Come here. All right, she don't want to come over here. Look, she being shy. She being loud, but she being shy. Okay. So what y'all think? Let Lamar run it himself. I think Raven said, hey, let him run it himself. Or D, read option with Lamar and Henry. All right. I might, I kind of like to cheat in these situations. Okay. I really do. I kind of like to cheat in these situations. I'm going to say D. But with the caveat of this, why don't you have somebody run behind, right? Have somebody run behind a little RPO read option type situation. I think it's unstoppable because either you give it to Derrick Henry and he gonna pound through, or you let Lamar escape through the edge because it's kind of a win-win. A read option is a win-win play as long as you make the right read. And let's just say the edge rusher knows what the heck he doing, right? The edge rusher know what the heck he doing. Even if the edge rusher does know what the heck he doing, that don't matter because you got somebody in the background slipping on through. Maybe Isaiah Likely, right? It'd probably be a tight end in this occasion. It'd probably be Isaiah Likely or Mark Andrews in this occasion. That's what I think. Now I know the last 2-point conversion that went to Mark Andrews didn't necessarily go as it should have. But anyway, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about that. Look, 86 Go says play action to Lamar. Sweep the option to throw. Look, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I said read option. You said play action. I honestly think play action under center too. If you're gonna go play action, so you said play action to Henry, Lamar sweep with the option to throw. I think it's true too. And I think if you're gonna give, the reason I say read option is it lets you see a little bit more. But if you're gonna go play action, I think you got to go play action from under center because the Ravens go under center. Everybody and their mama thinks that they're going to run the football because that's all the Ravens have done for the past couple of years. So I appreciate you, 86 Ghost. Let me know anybody else who ends up watching this later, who ain't hanging out with us live, ends up watching this later. Let me know what you think. Going for 2. Are you running with Derrick Henry? Are you having Lamar throw it to your choice of receiver? Are you letting Lamar Jackson run it himself? Or are you doing read option with Derrick Henry and Lamar? I always like the idea of options, y'all. I always like the idea of options. Look, I got a question of the day for y'all, okay? I got a question of the day for y'all. I really do. I got a question of the day for y'all, but I want to get to these comments real quick before we get too deep into it. Going back to the extending Lamar, they can extend Lamar and pay him and say like $40 million. I read that one already. If Lamar takes a pay cut, he will need to negotiate the ability to tell them where he wants it since he's losing his money. Yeah, I agree with that. And honestly, I think the Ravens, because of the value of who Lamar Jackson is to this team, I think, honestly, this is my opinion, I think Lamar has every say in contract negotiations right now, right? Lamar Jackson is the reason why you in the Super Bowl contention every single year, as long as he's healthy. He's the reason. And you also said, like, if he wants a star wide receiver O-line. And like I said, I think Lamar already has that power, or at least a good percentage of it. I think he has at least a good percentage of say, right, of that power, to negotiate what happens, because I think if Lamar Jackson takes a pay cut, I think he's got a clear plan on what he wants if he does take a pay cut, whether that be O-line or whether that be wide receiver. Lamar don't complain about nothing to the press, but I feel like in those private meetings, I think he probably got a little bit more. He's a little more vocal about what he wants and how he wants it. Shout out to you, 86 Skills, for hanging out. But look, question of the day, and we getting up out of here. All right, it's been I had to hang out with y'all for a while, and we had a lot of fun today with plenty of very, very fun topics. But look, because I gotta cook. All right, look, I gotta cook. The wife about to be home. I gotta cook. Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. I gotta cook. Okay, I gotta go and cook some food, so then that way I ain't hungry after this show. All right, let me know down below what y'all eating. All right, what y'all eating. But look, after you cook that food, all right, after you cook that dinner, you cook that lunch, you cook that even that breakfast, depending on what maybe even brunch. Some of y'all fancy. All right, some of y'all fancy. You cook that brunch. All right, all right. What you watching? You watching a movie or you watching a show? Are you a movie person or are you a TV show person? Just breaking the ice with y'all for my new people out there, for my old people out there. I'm going to be honest with y'all. You crazy if you picking a movie, all right? You crazy if you picking a movie, my guy. My gal. All right? You crazy if you picking a movie. Because to me, maybe it's just like, it's a little bit of old school mixed with the new school for me, okay? It's a little bit of the old school mixed with the new school for me, okay? I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I always love just sitting there waiting on the next show to come out. But now you can binge watch everything. So really, all the waiting is out of it. So it's like, honestly, watching a show nowadays is like watching a movie, but there's more to it. It's like watching a movie with a longer story to it. So I think I'm picking show every time. Now I know I'm a big Austin Powers guy, right? All three of them incredible. You haven't watched them, you got to. I'm a big Austin Powers guy, but the shows, I'm telling you, man, the shows you got to do a show, man. You got to do a show. All right, you got to do a show. I mean, even for your workouts, you got something else to watch later. If you're doing your workouts, okay, you can watch for an hour, get you a walk in and be. Look, I'm trying to help y'all. All right, look, I'm trying to help y'all. We back, baby. Look, hey, 86 Ghost, you been hanging out with us? He said watching YouTube, man. 86 Ghost said watching YouTube. Look, I don't blame you. YouTube then got to the point of like where it's almost, it's TV at this point. You got your Ravens content creators out here. Right? You got anything you can think of, it's on YouTube. And the thing is, when it comes to going back to watching TV and stuff like that, especially traditional TV, you had to like find what you was looking for and hope it was on at the right time. Now with YouTube, anything you want, it's right there. So I mean, look, 86 Ghost got a point. 86 Ghost got a point, okay? 86 Ghost got a point. All right, 86 Ghost got a point. Watching YouTube, that's a good one. I appreciate y'all for coming by though. As always, if you're watching the replay, let me know down below. If you're watching the replay and you made it this far, hit me with an MVP in the chat. All right. MV3. Hit me with an MV3 in the chat. All right. Just so I know, because next year is coming. But just so I know that y'all was hanging out with me. Look, y'all, the Be More Show is on all major podcasting platforms. I promise y'all it is, and I promise you it will be updated very, very soon. But the Be More Show is on all major podcasting platforms, so be sure to check the show out. I appreciate y'all. I got to get up out of here. I've been here for too long, but nothing is too long to hang out with y'all. So I'll see y'all in the next one. Appreciate y'all for coming by. Hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube. Heart the show if you're on the audio platforms, so you know when the next one comes out. We'll see you guys on the next episode of the Be More Show. I'll see y'all later, man. Out. See y'all later.